prior to when they changed all this, because every state has two constitutions. They have the de jure one, and they have the de facto one that we have now. And when we get our country back, if we can study the real Constitution, we'll already have it in our minds while we're rebuilding our country. The second point I wanted to bring out was the smart meters. Now, I have an individual in my group, when he knew that smart meters were going to come into our area, he already wrote letters to the company, and he fought and he won. They got a tag, a sign on his meter that's not a smart meter. It's the Anglon one. Do not put a smart meter here, and it was signed by some head supervisor with the sign. But he fought it when he knew that they were coming out, and he won. So you can win.
So that just not having the smart meter, and Chris has been, I read what Chris was saying. Let's just say it's not on your house, okay? But everybody else around you has a smart meter. It's ideal, of course, if the whole neighborhood doesn't, because you're still going to be exposed to
this individual
the AMR.
Doesn't live next to people. He's out kind of away from people. Okay. So he was able to do it for his home, and he doesn't have any neighbors close to him. So he's in a unique situation.
Right. The rest of us are trying to keep it out of our neighborhood if we can.
But I'm just saying, he stood up for him and his wife and won because he was persistent. And I just wanted to share that one person did win in my group. And the thing about what's going on here, what you guys are doing, there is no one leader. When this other group that has a leader and tries to build a government, you're going to have the de facto government send plants in. And every time you try to form a big group, that's when you start having trouble. And I'm glad the way that you guys are doing it from the bottom up, that's the way to do it. When the time comes, when we rebuild our country, that's when we'll rebuild the true government again. And I'm so glad I found you guys. And I do have a question from someone that was asking me to ask a question to Drake, and this will be my last thing. If the internet goes down, will you be able to give a 24-hour notice? Because she doesn't have a TV, she doesn't own a radio, she doesn't own a ham radio, she just has the internet. So wouldn't it be good to get to know people of like-mindedness of where you live that maybe they have one, and then that's how you can get information? What would you do, Drake?
Well, first of all, what you got to understand is that this is going to be an orderly transition. In other words, you're not going to have as much chaos and things being turned off as you think. Everybody is out there playing ooey into the world, and quite frankly, the plan calls for keeping everything intact as much as possible. There's going to be a few outages here and there, and that can't be helped. But overall, the majority of everything is going to pretty much remain the same. The thing that's going to change are the crooks. They're going bye-bye. In that process, then everybody is going to be left to look in the mirror and become their own leader in terms of you got to learn how, you got to learn what it takes to do so, and then the next part of it is you talk to your neighbors, you get people together, you make decisions, and make the decisions in such a fashion it doesn't infringe on somebody. It's something that everybody can agree upon. Those decisions then become the local government as it was intended by the founding documents. Now, I'm going to say this again. The toilets are going to flush, unless it gets clogged up, of course. Lights are going to be on, phones are going to work, etc. What's going to be closed is international commerce. The borders are going to be shut down, and I mean clamped. The satellites are going to be turned off. The reason that they are going to have to do this is so that they cannot electronically transfer all the wealth of this country into Gaga land somewhere, or send documents and destroy the paper ones they got here. I want to have the ownership, but I can't have the police get a hold of that, or they'll put me in jail. So that's what they're looking at. This plan has been very concise. It's such that I wouldn't personally worry a whole lot about losing internet or telephone or lights, that sort of thing. Even your cable, some of the satellite TV programs will still be available because they're beamed from the states. Anything within the states should stay operational. So I wouldn't worry about that too much, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. And Chris, thank you for your comments, too. Have a great night.
Thank you, Barry. Okay, we're going to move on to one more caller. That's about all we have time for. And this caller is Wesley out of area code 336. Wesley, your mic is open.
Hello, and I want to thank you all for everything you're doing. I'm calling from North Carolina, and I'll keep this brief. Maybe you'll have time for another question. It's basically, I was looking at the internet, and I saw this thing called the Farmers Claim Program. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's where all this debt's supposed to be released, and it also has something to do with Basel III and NESARA. And from what I understand, around January of last year, the Supreme Court signed NESARA into law, but there's been some dispute of whether they're going to announce to the public or not. And also, our current dictator in charge is doing everything he can to block it and actually asking for trillions of dollars in ransom money. So my question is, if you can answer it, are these events you're talking to affiliated with NESARA? And this is part of the original 13th Amendment and a restored republic?
Basically, the program calls for a complete reset. That means that the central banking system and financial system that you're familiar with goes and is reset. The other part of it is that also at the same time, the primary structure of a central government is going to be removed to the states. You will have a little bit of federal government, but not a lot. Not near what we've got now. It's going to be, like I say, it's going to be a house cleaning on a variety of levels. So, yes and yes and yes.
Very well. Thank you so much. I know that you're not at liberty to say what affiliate you're with, but that answered my question. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Wow. Well, let me see. We have one. We might be able to sneak in one more. And I'm going to go ahead and sneak him in now. This will be Larry. Larry, we've got just about 4 minutes, son.
Deep in the heart of Texas, hey, guys. Now, don't take me wrong. It's just that I've been raised to believe what I see and only part of what I hear, but I'll tell you what, I'm not going to hold my breath, but the day I see Hillary, blah, blah, Pelosi, and their ilk locked up, you'll see me dance a Texas jig, all right? That being said, I hope none of this leads to any kind of weird one-world government kind of leadership, because I read the end of the book on the Bible, and it just doesn't speak a good song, okay? But now, well, actually, let me rephrase that. The very end is a good song for people that are Christians. The people that aren't Christians, well, maybe not so great. But, hey, I hope what you say happens, but I know that there's a lot of foreign troops on this soil. I've seen some of them. I've delivered chicken to the people that deliver to the Chinese. I've bumped into, by accident, a whole bunch of Russians on leave in Nebraska with their families. And I'm wondering, who the hell are these people? But then there's a Singapore and Mountain Home, Idaho Air Force Base that are pilots. They're called Eagle drivers. And they're trained to shoot Americans with Hellfire missiles. You look up Operation Garden Plot, and it'll make a lot more sense. They ain't going to match bullet for bullet. There are a lot of evil people that ain't going to play fair. So you better keep your heads up, your foxhole deep, and watch your six, because you're up against some really, really evil people that make Hitler look like a Boy Scout. And I ain't kidding. I've seen some of them, and I've let them know, you cross my line, it's a showdown. You better use a Hellfire missile, because I ain't going peaceful.
Right.
And God bless you, and may the Lord's angels protect you and guide you. And Deetra and the rest of y'all, have a happy Easter. And I'll talk to you later, Deetra. I know you'll call.
Yes, I will.
And may God protect y'all, because you need it.
All right. You too. Thank you. Okay, guys. Larry was our last call for tonight. Drake, I want to just give you about 2 minutes or so just to kind of wrap up. And I'm going to kind of spring it on you now. Due to the surgery I've had, we've kind of had to make a little bit of changes here and there regarding, because of my surgery. And so Wednesday, or Thursday, I hope you will be available. And I think we will just make it a Q&A day.
Okay.
You think that's going to work?
It's pretty simple, people. We've got a long, convoluted history, and that's wrinkled for people who don't have those $7 words thrown at them a lot. There's a whole lot of things that have been going along. Everybody thinks it's okay because they change just a little at a time, and you don't notice it so much. Then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you go, how did I get here? Well, that was basically what drove this effort among the several states to complete the portion of the plan that gives civil authority to take care of the problems we have with our government. Within that, you've got finance and a whole bunch of relearning. My best suggestion is for everyone to go to the Texas Freedom School and learn some of the things there. Also, put common law into your search engine and pick out the longest link you can find and start reading. This is the way this thing is going to be run, basically. Now, there are going to be extraordinary and severe, in some cases, changes. Hopefully, everything will come out according to the plan. This is nonviolent. This is simply a cleaning of house. You're going to have a few individuals appointed temporarily to fill in where they're needed in order to not have things collapse. And you're going to find that you're free. And that's the best thing I can think of on Easter.
Yep, I couldn't have said that much better myself there, Drake. Teri, do you want to take just a minute real quick?
I was muted, and I am going to have to mute again because, as you can hear, the dogs are starting and the sirens are coming.
Okay, yep, I hear it. All right.
In a moment, you won't be able to hear me. I'll see you next Sunday, and thank you, everyone, for being here, for listening, and for having us on the show.
Yes, thank you, Teri. Thank you, Drake, Anita, Chris, everybody who was here tonight. And, happy Easter to all who have been listening. We wish you well and want only the best for all of us. If we can clean up just our own little corner of this nation, we will have cleaned up the nation for somebody else's children, not just our own. Keep that in mind. And remember, if you're looking in the mirror or if you're looking for a leader, look in the mirror. You are your leader. So, anyways, with that, guys, I want to thank everybody again. And we're going to roll out with a couple commercials, but please stay tuned for Tiger Lily's Freedom Roar.
Can I share one?
What?
May I share one?
One.